I ate gyozas for breakfast, and you know what? I don't regret it. They were delicious.
You ate what?
Gyozas.
Oh, yeah.
Jiaozi.
Those are good.
It just, I don't think of it as breakfast food.
Dumplings.
Pot
Good
stickers.
day.
Yeah, dumplings.
They're just pot
yeah.
stickers. They're just Chinese
same,
pot
same.
stickers sold in a Japanese restaurant.
And like, I just dipped them in yuzu sauce, and I was like, you know what? This is a perfectly fine breakfast.
That's good.
Why don't I do this more often? Yeah.
You should. Well, you
I
know,
will.
they're kind of fattening depending on which ones you get and how much oil you use.
I get the fat-filled ones. Those are the most delicious.
Those are.
ones.
I mean, the thing is,
Well, I
fat
didn't
is
put any
flavor.
oil on
I
these
mean,
guys. I just threw them in the June oven, and you know,
Like,
brought them up to heat.
What's the,
And I didn't even do anything with the yuzu sauce. It was just cold out of the fridge.
the Shanghai dumplings, the ones with the soup in it. That's all fat.
Oh,
That's how
those are
they get the
good.
soup in there, right? You make the filling and then you let it sit and chill until it congeals, and then you put it in and you make the dumpling, and then when you steam it, the heat decongeals or heats up the filling and it makes it soupy.
That does sound good. These were much more like, basically like chicken and cabbage.
Pot stickers.
Yeah.
Cabbage. It's filling. and
But also good and probably pretty salty. But
or are they frozen? If they're frozen, they're probably salty. A little more though.
yeah, no, they were like literally out of my freezer. I was like, I got no food. What am I eating for breakfast? Gyozas. That's what we're doing. And
I just had some for lunch Tuesday, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I love a good dumpling.
They're quick and easy to make.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah. They
did
can
you-
be finger food, or you can use utensils. You've got all sorts of options. You know, dip them in ranch. Call me crazy. Probably would taste good.
I
Dip 'em in
I don't
anything.
think it's crazy, but I think it's a little too rich at that point for me. Like,
Well, but it
taste-wise.
depends on the gyoza, because the ones that I was eating,
Roger
were
can't
like,
afford ranch.
not that
Come on.
I can't. My kid. My youngest has an abscess, so I gotta. She didn't want to sit in this dental chair today screaming, so
Oh,
we
dear.
gotta.
Yeah.
My wife, I'm not there, has to take her in next
Now,
week.
I don't know. This may be a polarizing statement, and I would assume that we all enjoy pizza of some kind, right? We don't have to agree on the type of pizza that we like, but you know,
Flatbread,
people
marinara
like
sauce,
pizza.
something.
Pineapple.
Now, the first time that someone was like, "Oh, ranch on pizza," like, I mean, your life will never be the same. It's so good. I was like, no, I will never do that. And then one day, I was like, you know what?
I'll try it.
I'll just try
Honestly-
I had a pizza already that I was like, this isn't going to be
Wait,
like super
did you get it from
gourmet pizza.
Domino's or Pizza Hut?
It was in that vein of pizza
Because
where I was
their-
like, yeah,
their
you know,
pizza-
it's just pizza. It's not great pizza.
Well, I know, but their dough lends itself to that. Like, there's something
I'm
about their
telling
dough
you,
that
I did the ranch.
makes me think
and-
that they're just
and
using
I-
the
I
Ready
was
to be a
like-
Midwesterner, Sarah. Cheap rent, cold winters, ranch dressing is
know,
everywhere.
I know. It's like,
Develop,
why am
develop
I
a
not in
taste
Missouri
for
right now?
Provel.
No, but I'm telling you guys though, it's like,
Provel.
and I'm not even like a big ranch fan. I don't put ranch on salads because I find it to be too heavy. But I don't hate the taste of ranch. Ranch on pepperoni pizza is
no meat.
Chef's
This is how
kiss.
much ranch
Not
is
bad.
consumed in my office. I know that there's a ranch and pizza candle being sold.
ranch and pizza candle.
Scented
Does it
candle
smell like
being
ranch
sold.
on pizza? Like,
Oh my
what's-
gosh,
Apparently, it
that's
smells
amazing.
like you've done terrible things and someone hates you at the candle factory.
wow.
You know, they say
I don't
toasted
know.
ravioli is the gyoza of St. Louis.
That's so wrong on so many levels, especially because there's a ton of amazing.
I mean, the thing
hardcore
is,
Chinese and
it really
Korean food here.
depends, right? If it's like a thin crust, I can't do it with meat, but I can do it with a pizza that's like vegetable, like all I guess a vegetarian pie.
What
I mean,
Rod,
I
you're
don't
not
think
popular
artists that
it's
most
not like I'm
fucking
putting
people
ranch
eat.
on every single piece of pizza I'm eating,
Rob.
but it's good. Honestly, I was pleasantly surprised.
I've come to understand that things that a lot of people tend to like generally don't taste bad. It's not like people are out there disillusioned with what they're eating. It's like, I'm just going to eat this. I want to, grin and bear it. A lot of stuff actually tastes. Now it may be cultural and stuff like that.
It's definitely cultural because
based off of where you are.
Or
but most stuff that a lot of people like, you may not like it, but if a lot of people like it, it probably doesn't taste horrible to them, which is why a lot of people like it.
Also, taste is malleable. Like taste is, people act as if taste is just a solid thing that is either true or not, and it's not. You can change your taste. Right. It might not be worth the trouble to do it, but it can change.
Very true.
Yeah.
Is there any type of food that any of you used to hate and now love? Or the opposite?
Raw onions.
Raw onions.
Like
red onions in a salad type thing?
Like raw, I
hated,
didn't really understand.
I hated hot sauce as a kid.
That's funny. Like hot sauce was
and mustard.
in my
I hated
family
mustard.
as a kid.
Mustard.
I hated mustard as a kid.
Mustard.
I didn't actually like. I didn't like mustard until my 30s.
I didn't
funny
like
too because mustard is another one of those things.
until I was an adult.
What is it?
Oh, funny.
White rice?
Yeah, have you heard of it, Len?
I've never. What is that?
Yeah,
Len doesn't know what rice
Tom's
is.
sassy today.
it's like the fried rice without all the good stuff in it.
Yeah, if you know fried rice, it's like that.
It's interesting because
Yeah,
there
just
is
strip down.
there is sushi rice, which is different.
Right.
Than white
Yes.
rice.
Yep.
So
No, I'm
The
talking
jasmine
about
rice.
just plain
jasmine, right?
white rice out of the box, out of the aisle next to the mashed potatoes in the grocery store from
Now-
the 80s.
Out of the
But
box,
I was
what
not
kind of
saying.
rice are you using?
Uncle Ben's.
But did you have anything to put on it, or did someone
Like
just
butter?
hand you a?
Butter and pepper, maybe. Yeah.
Why did you avoid white rice for so long? Did you
I think
Did
it
you
might
not
have
ever
been,
go to like a Chinese restaurant and have that rice that came with it?
But see, I liked fried rice. It was just white rice. And I think it might have been a texture thing or something to where I had it when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I didn't think I liked it. Therefore, I just if I can avoid eating it, I won't. And then it was like, when you're a kid and you don't want to eat something, you make yourself not like it, regardless of whether it's actually tasty or
Oh,
not.
Yeah.
So there was that. But
plain
yeah,
rice
but-
is like hash browns. It's no. I mean, it's like
I get you.
it's a conveyance for sauce or
Yeah.
something, right?
Or
Whether it's
seasoning or
ketchup
whatever,
or
yeah.
hot
Or usually
sauce.
the
it always had
pork or
to,
chicken
yeah,
dish.
for me, it always had to be something like red beans and rice was the only way I would eat rice when I was
or black
I was
beans
a
and
kid.
rice.
I'm
But,
really not that
but
picky.
as
I'll
I've
eat
gotten
whatever.
into adult, it's like, no, rice can be tasty. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just the right stuff.
I mean risotto. I mean that's a classic
Yeah.
butter and
I mean, even in
More
my
butter.
rice cooker, I make all sorts of rice, but sometimes it's just like plain old basmati
Fluffy
rice.
rice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Nothing wrong
you
with
just
that.
put things on it later.
yeah, but
And then
but-
all
You
of a
should check it
sudden
out,
it's
Len.
flavorful.
I
You
will
really
try
should,
that
Len.
over the holidays.
You can get it at Seafood City.
Yeah.
I'm getting Chinese food tonight, so I'm assuming rice
So
is
maybe
coming.
yeah, order it.
So, yeah, try it out. Open my eyes to this new.
5 seconds.
Just realized, Lynn, you don't have anything with Cleveland on.
No, I'm dressed up.
Whoa, you're
I was-
right.
He's
Yeah.
dressed like a beatnik.
He's in,
my
he's
God.
in his little black dress.
Have
A
a
cute
good
little
show,
cocktail.
everybody.
Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Thursday, December 11th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I am Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
From the edge of St. Louis, I'm Patrick Norton.
Drawing the top tech stories from Cleveland, I'm Len Peralta.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
This very show is made possible by you. You're like, wait, me? Yeah, you. Thanks to every single one of you. A little special call out for Johnny Hernandez, High Tech Okie, and Chris Zaragoza, our patrons. But we appreciate every single one of you who support the show. Couldn't do it without you.
Indeed. And welcome one and all to DTNS Live. This is the show where we unpack the week's tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better as we go through it together. Patrick Norton, how are you doing out there in the St. Lou?
Just leaning into the cold and getting all of my sweaters I could never wear in the Bay Area. Lots of use.
There you go. Yeah. It's sweater weather. What's not to like? If you are watching us live, you can name this episode. Head to dtns.showbot.tv to submit titles and vote on them throughout the show, because we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We'll check back in on the votes at the end of the show, and you might have your vote be crowned our show title for the day. Reminder, we've got an extended show for our patrons. So when we say goodbye, if you're a patron, stick around, because we have more fun planned. All right, let's kick it off with a few stories that caught our eye.
Business Insider saw an internal memo from Meta indicating the company's mixed reality glasses, codenamed Phoenix, will not debut in 2026 in order to deliver a more polished and reliable experience, taking them out of my longstanding prediction that 2026 would be the year of everybody having glasses. Meta is reportedly working on a limited edition wearable codename Malibu 2.
I wonder if it's alcoholic.
Or Barbie doll.
Or a car.
Malibu Stacy. Yeah.
Rivian announced a new LiDAR-equipped hardware stack, custom 5-nanometer silicon, and universal hands-free system coming in early 2026, offering point-to-point driving on more than 3.5 million miles of mapped roads for either a $2,500 fee or $50 per month, getting up to that $2,500. Basically, you leave your house, you put in your destination, the car drives you, you don't do anything. That's the promise. The company plans to advance towards personal L4 capability and hinted at future ride-hail services as well. In its new ACM3 autonomy computer and LiDAR sensor, it will debut on the R2, that's an SUV coming, in late 2026.
I don't know why, but the picture of that truck, it reminds me of the truck from Fall Guy for some reason. So I loved that show when I was a kid. So I'm liking how that thing looks.
It has a throwbacky thing. I mean,
I could put Lee Majors in there and be comfortable. Yeah.
The Rivians are out of my price range, but they are nice. And, even nicer if I can just read a book while it drives me to my doctor's appointment.
A Virginia startup called Operation Bluebird has asked the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to cancel X Corporation's Twitter and tweet trademarks, arguing X has ditched them. Bluebird wants to use the marks for a new social network called Twitter New, hoping to bring back the brand's original feel. Bluebird's legal team is pointing to X owner Elon Musk's own words as proof of abandonment, but experts warn that X might still fight to keep the marks by showing that they still are being used or plan to be used for something. So if they were able to get this, I just don't know that keeping the name Twitter would work. That just doesn't seem like that would be a good move.
It also feels like the people at X are like, well, we're not using them, but we don't want you to have them either.
Oh, I'm certain that they don't want those names to go anywhere
that would
else.
be my guess.
Let's see. Who has more money to tie this up in legal proceedings of these two, do you think?
Yeah.
Patrick's laughing.
I'm going to guess the folks who run X have a little bit more cash.
I think Operation Bluebird has a good point. It's like, you're not using it. You made a big deal about changing the nomenclature of, everything associated to X, formerly Twitter. So why not let us use it? But that's not really how these things work.
From the marketing standpoint, though, you would never want to do that because you can never not be compared to Twitter, even if that is what you're wanting. You can never not be compared. So as long as if they are able to get it, which I doubt seriously that they would be able to, I just don't know that would be a good marketing move because of the comparisons to a ginormous social network that, it's hard to catch where Twitter was.
Yeah, it's just a bizarre ask. But think about it now. They've now been covered nationally for being bizarre enough to try to get into a, pissing contest with Elon, which will endear them to probably a large number of people and also dedicate a large number of people to mocking every presence they make online for the rest of the company's existence. It's odd.
Yeah, shooting your shot. Startups do it all the time.
Don't throw it away. Shoot it.
All right, those are 3 top stories that caught our eye this week. Here's a big one today. OpenAI and Disney signed a 3-year licensing deal that lets ChatGPT and Sora generate images and videos featuring more than 200 Disney, Pixar, and Star Wars characters starting in early 2026, so right around the corner. The partnership covers animated and illustrated versions only, so it's not going to be actor likenesses or voices. I know some people were a little concerned about that this morning. Disney says it will also stream curated Sora-generated fan videos on Disney Plus and use OpenAI's APIs to build new products. So this is not just a Sora partnership, but obviously the two companies playing nicely. Disney is also investing $1 billion into OpenAI with an option to buy more equity as the AI firm moves towards a potential IPO. I think that's probably the bigger part of the story. This is like, hey, let's have fun with Sora and Disney characters, but also Disney saying, we're putting a lot of money into you, OpenAI, and we want a big piece of the pie later.
Yeah, this is pretty cool to me. It's the fact that they're going to use Disney stuff, and they got Disney to give them money to use Disney stuff. That part is just making me smile. It's like that feels like that is like a Jedi mind trick or something like that. Now, granted, Disney, they're going to be using a heck of a lot of ChatGPT. I would imagine the employees of the company. So there's some fair trade there. But the initial headline that I saw of this is like, wait a minute, you got them to give you money to use their stuff? That just made me smile.
I mean, I assume OpenAI is also paying for the rights to the Disney licenses, because remember, one is a payment, the other is an investment. So I think there is a slight difference there in saying we're putting $1 billion in, assuming we'll get more than $1 billion out, right?
And it's not all just end product going to be on a screen. It might be anywhere from like we need Disney or Disney related stock art to go with marketing material, with promotional material, educational material, right? You see all their IP plastered over everything. So instead of having just a limited set, you could say, well, we want Mickey Mouse to be eating an apple, but this particular apple, in this particular location. You get that all done, and it won't look, you won't need someone to work a week on Photoshop to get it all put together.
Going back to Sora, even though I played around with it when Sora was first, well, it was the latest gen of Sora, and it's pretty fun, but it was a lark, really. I made a few dolphin videos and had some fun, send it to friends, and that was sort of it. I wonder how much somebody who is in the content creation space, specifically, in the AI space, to say, oh, this is great. I can really do a lot of the stuff now with, this Disney partnership.
Disney's talking about incorporating this into its platform to give fans a chance to like play around with its IP. We've talked about that before on various shows, and I think that's where you'll see Disney's focus on this is less likely like that they care what people are doing on Sora, except so much as they're making sure to follow guidelines, but incorporating this into Disney Plus and Disney's websites to say like, hey, kids and family, you want to put yourself in a video with Mickey and Minnie Mouse? Here you go, right? Like that's the kind of stuff I expect to see from this.
Yeah, fan art and fan stories and that type of stuff. That the folks who are into that are into that. So yeah, I see enormous amounts of content being created by people who are fans of the of the various platforms. And they're going to be making all kind of stuff, and you would have to imagine, because a lot of the stuff that we see already that's being made by fans is really, really good. I only imagine that you're going to see some really, really good stuff made in Sora as well.
And imagine that you have this huge pool of people you don't have to pay, generating amazing ideas with your IP that you could eventually
hopefully amazing.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, you only need one out of like 1 million people that are cranking out fan fiction to make something worthwhile that you could capitalize on,
own. And exploit. Well, it's also, it's funny because it's also a bet on OpenAI being successful, and a very large bet, which means if OpenAI does what OpenAI says OpenAI is going to do, which is change everything and become the most massive company in the planet, then they also get a big chunk of that, which is more reliable than making movies that people want to watch. At least in terms of executive compensation.
Well, Patrick, since you mentioned OpenAI being, the biggest company ever, Very coincidentally, today, Disney sent Google, small company, you may have never heard of it, a cease and desist letter accusing it of training AI models on Disney's copyrighted works and then distributing infringing images and videos at scale. The letter cites examples generated by Google's AI tools, including Star Wars, Marvel, Frozen, and other characters, and says Google's promotion of recent figurine image trends encouraged further infringement. Disney says talks with Google went nowhere. They said they tried to talk to Google, they couldn't come to an agreement, and is demanding immediate technical safeguards and removal of infringing outputs. Disney made similar actions against Meta, Character.ai, Midjourney, and Minimax. So this is not just a Disney versus Google thing, but it is very coincidental that the day that Disney and OpenAI say, hey, everybody, it's going to be so great, Disney characters for all. Yeah. And then Disney says, and by the way, Google, we are taking you to court.
Yeah. Yeah, OpenAI outbid Google, or maybe not straight on dollars either, but OpenAI made the deal and Google did not.
Tom's officially more cynical than I am today. I'm very excited.
I don't know that that's cynical. That's just the way it happened, right?
No,
and I think the other part of this that's interesting is to keep in mind that OpenAI signed a 1-year exclusive with Disney, so Google is now blocked from trying to strike the same deal. They'll have to strike a different kind of deal to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's like, on one hand, I look at this and it's like, we can't be held liable for what people do with the hammers, Disney. People do dumb things with hammers all the time. They'll do dumb things with AI, like abuse your copyrighted content. And then the flip side is, it is such a Disney move, like establish an incredibly profitable relationship with a huge upside and then release the lawyers, which they have on retainer and in volume to go after everyone else. You gotta almost admire it.
Yeah, I know. It's like who has more lawyers, Disney or Google at this point? They got to be neck and neck.
I think Disney's lawyers are meaner and have
they've been around longer.
They're more battle tested. Yeah,
they've been protecting IP for 100 years. So
they ruined copy. I mean, they
life of the author.
Yeah, I mean, and then they made it worse and worse and worse. And then some junior partner went, we could just trademark the images, and then we won't have to deal with this stupid stuff. And everybody looked around and had a sad and went, well, that's not as many billable hours. So we'll do that now that we've exhausted all other opportunities for extending it. But
I feel like the Disney lawsuit of Google is the least surprising thing I have heard today. It is really just what these companies are doing is trying to get judges to rule that training on your data is a copyright infringement. And what the tech companies are trying to say is, no, as long as we are not contributing to inducing people to use our tools to create them, then it's not copyright infringement because we are transforming data when we put it in there. I don't think Google's going to try to argue they didn't have any Disney IP in their training. So it'll all be about output. It'll be like, well, but if you can use Gemini to output stuff and Google doesn't do enough to stop it, then that is basically contributory infringement. And it's all going to come down to a judge on that. That's the story of every one of these cases, whether it's Google and Disney or New York Times and OpenAI, right? So OpenAI winning the wooing of Disney for this is obviously the biggest part of this.
Is there any chance it doesn't go to the Supreme Court?
Which one?
The cease and desist letter and what we.
I mean, I don't know if this one does. That issue is going to go to the Supreme Court. It's probably going to come from one of the earlier filed suits, then that suit would affect this one. But you never know.
Well, Google has been in the news this week, but this next story is for different reasons because, Tom, Google is re-entering the mixed reality glasses space.
Yes.
It's not Google Glass, it's something else.
Exactly. You can throw your Google Glass in the trash and get ready for Project Aura from Xreal. So this is Google making the operating system, Android XR, which, by the way, same operating system that's on the Galaxy XR, but in a glasses form factor. So these are a lot lighter to wear, slightly less capable than the Galaxy XR, but more comfortable. They are not as comfortable and wearable as Meta Ray-Bans, though. We just put up my Xreal Live With It, I think like a month ago, if you want to go check that out. But the Xreal 1 glasses that I have are basically the same form factor as what they're doing. It's slightly sleeker, but all the pictures look like they took the Xreal 1 glasses, which have like a display inside the lens, but you can't really see it from outside unless you look closely. But with Project Aura, instead of connecting to a phone, which is what the Xreal 1 glasses do, it connects to a dedicated puck. So that puck is what's running the Android XR system. Has a 70-degree field of view, so a lot narrower than the Galaxy XR. 2 tracking cameras, so not as much tracking as the XR. But it can recognize gestures, so you don't have to use the puck if you don't want to. You'll need to keep it nearby, just like the Galaxy XR, so you can either wear it, put it in a pocket, something like that. They are lighter than the Galaxy XR by quite a bit, at 90 grams, but Google said it's designed for episodic use. This is not for you to wear around town. This is to wear in a particular situation. And we don't have a price. We don't have a release date, and it's still called Project Aura. So we don't know what it's going to be called at the end of the day. However, Google is getting into the stylish glasses game that will compete with the Meta Ray-Bans in partnership with Warby Parker and Gentle Monster. They reiterated that those will launch sometime next year, and those will be both audio only and display versions. So they'll be in direct competition with Meta on that. And just one last little point. If you like the Samsung Galaxy XR, that headset got a software update that adds a bunch of stuff, including wireless connectivity to a PC at 60 frames per second over Wi-Fi, 2D to 3D upscaling in real time with less than 20 millisecond latency. A few other bells and whistles there. So they are continuing to develop the Android XR features for the Galaxy XR headset from Samsung, as well as trying to get everybody excited for these glasses, which, Patrick, I mean, you're not going to wear them around town, but they are lighter than the
like
Samsung.
What's the episodic use here for Patrick?
Episodic use just means like what, Patrick? Like what episode would you use these for?
You said this, and the first thing that came into my head is like, oh God, here we go again. And I feel like this is something that, there's just certain technologies that keep popping up, and they always sound like such a great idea, and then they die a squealing death, or they end up in the corner, or they end up being warned by people that annoy everyone else, or get thrown out of the club. I don't know. I don't have an intelligent, reasonable, thoughtful response to this. I'm just like, no,
Rob, do you have an episode? Can you help Patrick out here?
Well, I remember, we're going to CES in less than a month. We were there last year, and we saw people walking around wearing Vision Pros. They look like absolute fools wearing ski goggles, walking around a convention looking at stuff. This, I think, is like, for that person that wants to do something while they're sitting on a train or a plane or something like that, and they just don't want to look ridiculous wearing ski goggles while they're watching TV or whatever the case is. I think we're getting closer here, and I think this is just another move. I think eventually we're going to see to where these things actually do compete with the with what the Meta Ray-Bans and the Meta Oakleys. I think that they will be there eventually, and we're just getting closer and closer and closer to it. So you've actually got the first version of these, right, Tom? I think that these ones are probably just a little bit slightly better. You can do maybe a little bit more stuff with it.
But yeah, it's not the first version, but it is the most recent Xreal version, the 1 Pros. And I actually sent mine off to Scott Johnson. He's going to try them for gaming. But what I found is that I can plug them into a computer, I can plug them into a phone, and use them as a monitor. Which in a cramped situation like on an airplane, or if I just want to lay down on the couch, is actually quite useful. This is trying to say, instead of plugging them in and being a monitor, let's make it be a device of its own. And Android XR is capable of doing productivity stuff. You'll be able to Bluetooth connect these to other input devices. I feel like the Galaxy XR has a better use case, though, even though it's a big set of goggles, because I could sit down at my desk, put those on, and use it as a monitor. Whereas the Xreal Project Aura is going to be able to do that, but I'm going to also have to set up a whole new device, and it's not quite as capable in connectivity and everything as the Galaxy XR is.
I just don't want to look like I'm wearing ski goggles sitting there next to somebody else on an airplane. That is a big part of it for me. It's like and this could be a Robb
if you
thing.
don't
This may
want him
not
to
be
talk
everyone.
to you, Robb.
This is a Robb thing. I don't know that I want to wear big giant. It's like I feel like I'm sitting there wearing a motorcycle helmet or something like that. It's just like I don't know that I want that on a plane.
Robb's festival fit includes.
I mean, I think the form factor part of it is not that big a deal to me. I mean, Tom, I remember when we were doing our Live With It episode with the Xreal glasses, you were like, yeah, I mean, you know, I know these look kind of weird. They looked large, but I mean, sunglasses in general are all sorts of form factors.
Yeah.
I don't think a type of sunglasses, sunglass, if that's what it is when it's just the one, doesn't have to look like all other sunglasses. I mean, people wear all sorts of weird sunglasses these days. Have you seen the new Fendi sunglasses, guys? They are not smart, but they're huge. So there's that. But again, that's sort of what Meta's going for, right? Meta's going for, these are the glasses that you wear all the time.
And that's what Google's going for too with Warby Parker and General Monster. But those are not trying to be an entire display.
Right.
Basically, if they're saying like, look, we're gonna have smart glasses. Some of them will be audio only. Some will have a small display for notifications. If you want that and you want to look normal, if, however, you want to have a full display and you don't want to wear the Galaxy XR on your head, we'll have the Xreal ones, which if you don't look closely, do look just like sunglasses instead of these big old goggles.
I mean, it's funny because I looked around. I tried to find if anybody had any decent pictures of what it looked like seeing information inside the Xreal glasses. You know, and it's part of it's like,
I can tell you what it looked like. Jason Howell got a chance to try him on, and he said it's basically the same as the Galaxy XR, but with a narrower field of view. And to me, it sounded like that is what you get in the Xreal One Pro when you plug it into your laptop or you plug it into your phone. So it's the more narrow field of view, but still like, you know, a nice desktop setting with icons and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these glasses to me, they get me one step closer to what I want. The glasses from, do you guys remember the show For All Mankind with Sean Penn? The glasses they wore in there, that they were regular glasses until they weren't, and you could do all this VR and phone calls and all that kind of stuff. Those things were the greatest looking glasses because they just look like regular glasses. They didn't look like they were something special. These are not them, but they're a step closer in my opinion. So that's what I'm trying to get to where these are the glasses that I just do everything in. That, you know, they can, you know, this is what I'm looking for. I want them to look just like what I'm wearing right now. Yeah.
And if you can get that, but it can do audio pretty well. And now you'll be able to get it from Google, not just Meta next year.
Right.
And they can do a little bit of display, although, you know, the waveguide stuff, people have varying reviews of how good that works, but you can get that. You can't get the whole display. You can't get the whole Sean Penn situation. Not yet, anyway. But yeah, 2026 is going to be the year of the glasses. It just, Meta's going to stick with that lower end, the audio and the small displays. Google's going to be coming in to join the middle tier in partnership with Xreal, and Xreal won't be their last partner. They're also going to partner with other people to make Android XR. I think Lenovo's been mentioned before, obviously Samsung, but Samsung's going to have other form factors besides the Galaxy XR. And you're at CES, Robb, we're going to be seeing a ton of people trying to say, and we are the next Xreal, or we are the next people, or we've cracked the code on this space. And I'm not saying everybody's going to be using these by the end of the year, but you're going to have a lot more options and be able to see how much farther down the road we are to that day you want, where you can just put these on and get everything you need out of them.
Yeah, there will be, I want to guess, I want to go the over under. I think there will be 11 companies specifically with glasses like this that are passable, that they do what they do very well.
Yeah. Well, folks, we would like you to join the show. We're having a special show on Wednesday, December 24th. That's Christmas Eve, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We're going to share either tech we want for the holidays. We're like, oh, we're excited to get, I don't know, Nintendo Switch 2 or something, right? Or reminiscing on tech we received as gifts in the past. Like, oh, I remember when I got that Commodore 64. It was so cool. If you would like to join us in this, come be a part of the episode. We have two ways to participate. Pre-record something. In fact, you can even do it right on our website. There's a send voicemail button. You can just click that and start recording. Try to keep it to 60 seconds or less. Or if you'd like to actually join the show live, we're going to be having a few slots for that as well. You can find out all the details at dailytechnewsshow.com/LCH for listener co-host. That's dailytechnewsshow.com/LCH.
Recent news about RAM prices spiking are making at least a few people a little nervous about prices for PC components. Patrick, this is very much your lane. You've been following the story. What can you tell us?
Okay, so just as I get out, they keep pulling me back. I'm sorry. Just as PC gaming gets affordable, something blows up and they become expensive again. It's been a really interesting few months for RAM, right? I randomly picked something that was available at my local store, Crucial Pro, overclocking 32 gigabyte 2x16 gigabyte DDR/6000. It's been as low as $80. It averaged, if you look at camel.com, it averaged $126 pretty much for the last previous year, right up until October. And the price starts shooting up. You can see if you're watching the video, you can see the curve kind of ticks up a little bit, then it goes vertical, and then it stops because Amazon could no longer, basically had no chips for supply. So you can still buy this memory at, for example, Micro Center for $390. Literally, in a few weeks, the memory has tripled in price. Availability is down, and quite frankly, it's just going to get worse. Micron is shutting down Crucial, so they can focus on selling memory to AI for the long green. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were shocked that I was not upset at this travesty at the end of PC gaming, and it's like, well, PC gaming's been trying to die for quite some time, and PC memory manufacturers were basically not quite, practically almost giving away memory in 2022, 2023 because there was a glut in production. I'm going to get back to that in a second because, Micron's shutting down Crucial so they can focus on selling memory into AI. There's a lot of noises. The craziest thing, where is it? So AI needs memory, it needs storage. OpenAI has signed with Samsung and SK Hynix for, quote, I believe this is off PC Gamer, 900,000 DRAM wafers per month, which could account for 40% of current global DRAM output. This is an unhinged amount of memory. Because the scaling demands for AI for processing is pretty unhinged and seems to has at this point no end, right? And this absolutely sucks. If because I was like thinking about building a new PC for my oldest, and I was like, should have bought DDR5 a few months ago, and then I started thinking about it. Making a $700 PC and $900 PC sucks. Making a $1,200 PC, a $1,400 PC, or a $1,450 PC sucks. But it also wasn't that long ago that it was fundamentally impossible to build any kind of gaming PC because you couldn't buy a GPU due to the crypto shenanigans or supply chain problems that shut just about everything down. If anybody remembers that whole COVID thing a couple 4 years ago. The bigger challenge, and this is where I start sounding like me, is that memory is used in a lot of things. It's used not just in gaming, PC gaming desktops. It's used in, your regular desktops. It's used in laptops. It's used in phones. It's used in cars. It's used in gaming consoles. And there's a lot of vendors. There's general conjecture from analysts who like to conject generally that Lenovo and Apple probably have enough stockpiles to ride out memory issues or to prevent customers from having to absorb memory price increases through the end of 2026, right? I'll put my whatever analyst hat on there for a second. But the other thing people are saying is that just about anything that requires a bunch of memory could and probably will go up in price. And in some cases, that's going to be significant and painful. You know, I am really curious what happens with the availability of RAM and fab time, because I was kind of blown away with the idea that a single company, OpenAI, could, you know, be looking at 40% of current global DRAM output. I'm still just trying to wrap my head around that. That's a lot of RAM. And I don't think, because of I mentioned like RAM prices being pretty much at the bottom for a couple of years. I don't see a lot of RAM manufacturers being super excited about building more capacity. I think this is a story that's going to unfold. I don't expect RAM prices to come down for the next year. That's people smarter than me are saying that, but you know, smarter and more connected than me are saying that. But I think it's going to be something that's going to be challenging, not just for PC gamers, but for a lot of areas in technology for a couple of years. I think it's going to be more problematic for smaller companies and less problematic for larger companies, kind of like we saw going on with supply chain problems back during COVID. So.
And I was going to add, like, NVIDIA is going to stop giving add-in board partners RAMs to VRAM to go with their boards. Which,
yeah,
I mean, if you're one of these, if you're like, I can't even think of any of the names anymore.
Well,
but
it's I'm gonna pause that for a second, because it's the whole GPU market. Like, NVIDIA's relationships to GPUs and profit has changed radically in the last 5 years. 4 or 5 years ago, you're looking at total market capitalization of NVIDIA when 90+% of its business was gaming GPUs, was about $300 million. Went from about 160 to 300 million. You know, during those crazy years when the crypto miners went nuts on GPUs. And in the last, 2-3 years since that, they've gone to 90+% of their business being data center, primarily AI, and less than 10% of their business being gaming GPUs. And their market valuation is somewhere up around 3.7, 4 point something trillion dollars. It's been bouncing around, but that company's, at this point, and I'm actually kind of grateful they haven't been like, you know what, I'm tired of gamers and their driver issues and gaming companies, and just flicked it off into the distance. But yeah, I would not be surprised that they're going to prioritize the part of their business that is making them vastly more money. Because NVIDIA still owns like 92% of the gaming GPU market. That's just now less than 10% of their business. Like the things are shifting. Like the amount of money that's being thrown around in AI right now is unhinged.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to spec out a fairly high-end gaming rig. And they're not going to play games on it. They're going to use it for streaming. It's basically going to run OBS with multiple 4K cameras streaming out of it. Mm-hmm. But I spec'd that out back in the summer. And I remember the price. I did it in Micro Center. The price is like $19,995. So it was $2,000. Right. So it's a pretty high, high-end stuff. And I spec'd it out again about a week or 10 days ago. And the only thing that is different is the date. Yes. The date is the only thing that changed on the new spec. And it went from $19,995 or $19,995 to, it went from $2,000 to $2,400. And the only thing is different is that I spec'd one out in December and I spec'd one out in August. That is it. The only difference is the time.
Is that all the memory?
It's all the memory.
64 gigabyte. Yeah. It's nuts, right? Because, $300 worth of memory is now $600 worth of memory. And I am historically, I have not been the person to say, buy it now, it's going to get more expensive later. But this actually may be a case where buying it now, in terms of memory and stuff, might be a really, really good idea. So.
Do you know if there's anything that people can do to get the cheapest RAM possible, other than wait 3 years?
Well, we're at that point where based on my extensive analysis of places like, Facebook Marketplace, Reddit, and of course, the place where I met my wife, Craigslist. A lot of it depends on your willingness to buy used memory. Because that's right now the cheap memory is buying used memory. That's on one hand, there's a lot of people right now that are probably viscerally backing away from their screens or pulling their headphones away from their ears because that just sounds disgusting. On the other hand, I have a friend with 8 petabytes of storage in his basement that he uses for, oddly enough, crypto mining. And the entirety of it is used drives that he bought in bulk for this purpose. So, I own, I got used cars. I got open box speakers on this table. I bought used GPUs back when you couldn't buy a GPU. So that might be an avenue to look at. You just have to trust your source.
I mean, my system's running on used memory. In fact, the past 3 systems I've had have all been running on used memory. It really is just figuring out who you buy from. I buy from one particular seller off eBay. Same thing with storage. Like, I've bought used SSDs and I don't use them for anything mission critical. But if it's like a scratch drive, like it's a 512 gigabyte NVMe that I use purely as a scratch drive for Premiere, I'm not too worried about it losing, any sort of rendered information on it because I have I keep the files, the exported files separately on a different drive. But I mean, I've never had a used drive fail that did not fail within the first 48 hours.
Right.
Like if it failed in the first 48 hours, I got my money back or I got a refund or I got a replacement. But I've been using used drives and used SSDs and used memory for the past 6 years and I haven't had.
Well, and Patrick, what's the difference between a used drive, which we all know, like, well, drives have a limited lifespan and they can fail, and used RAM? Like, what's the lifespan of RAM?
I don't really have an honest answer for that because I have RAM that's been running approximately forever. In technical, maybe, the RAM that's sitting in the desktop I'm using right now has to be 8 years old, 9 years old. I don't really, with hard drives, with rotating media hard drives, right? There's, X number of, 100,000 hours, right? There's a mean time between failure. And that's something, the reason you could buy a lot of these drives from massive companies that own lots of drives is because they cycle them out. Because from a business perspective, that's prudent. I don't know what that number is for RAM.
Yeah. And I've heard of RAM burning out, but it's much rarer than a drive failing.
Yeah. I've replaced more hard drives in the last 20, or excuse me, hard drives, power supplies in the last 20 years.
Fans, power supplies, all that stuff. Yeah.
As long as you're, sorry, Rob.
Oh, I just usually the thing, as long as you don't overvolt or subject your RAM to extended amounts of heat, they're pretty solid. I mean, they eventually wear out because you wear out the traces in it. But I mean, I have never experienced it in over 20 some odd years.
I'm a knock on wood now.
Everybody do it if you have wood next to you.
I think the big thing with used RAM is that if it's slower, your rig's going to not run as fast. It's like, if you're putting RAM that's 8 years old, it's probably not going to run as fast if you had DDR5 that you just got 3 months ago.
But if you get used DDR5, it's going to act just like DDR5, whether it's used or not, is probably the case, right?
One would hope.
And if you're someone sitting on a pile of used RAM, I guess this is your moment to shine.
Well, going back to the AI discussion, this is something that if you're on the internet, you have definitely are coming to terms with, and that is AI being so good that we don't necessarily know what is real and what is not on social media. Rob, what's the latest?
Well, sir, there's still a few tells. Actual AI labels, believe it or not, a lot of AI stuff, generated stuff, has a Sora logo on it, so you can just look at the logo and see that it's AI created. There could be fragments in the corner, so if you look at the edges of whatever video you're watching, there could be banding and stuff like that happening in the corners. If there's actors, they may not blink, they may not breathe. Those kind of things are tells. We're getting beyond where the fingers didn't look right. There's, I guess, on some older models that's the case, but we are getting to a point where you're simply not going to be able to tell the difference between this. And one of the big things here is that we've actually got experts that are saying this. So there is a news channel in Tampa, and they have talked to some experts. One of them is John Licata, is associate professor at at USF Bellini College of AI. And one of the points that he's making is that we're 6 months to a year out from where people simply won't be able to look at a video and tell that it was an actual video that was shot or it was a video that was generated with AI. We're very, very close to that. So the conversation is that if that's the case, what do we ultimately do? I personally see a lot of potential issues with this. One of them being, there are a lot of folks, particularly young millennials and down cohorts below them. They get primarily most of their news from places like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. And these are the places where it's hardest to tell if something is fake or not, because you've got a little screen. As compared to looking at something on a big television. So I kind of want to just kind of open the conversation up to you guys and get your thoughts on, what do we need to do? Do we need to have, legislation enacted? Will we actually trust the government to put the legislation in place to actually be truthful with what they're saying? What ultimately do we do when you cannot tell what is real? Like, the Richard Pryor quote, "Who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?" That takes a whole different meaning in today's world, because you honestly cannot believe your eyes sometimes.
It's going to be a terrifying election cycle.
I actually had yes, it is. I had a great conversation with Stephanie Humphrey a few weeks ago on DTNS Weekend Edition about this very topic. And, we both agreed that as this stuff gets harder and harder to parse out, what do you do? And really it goes back to, what's the source of this, who shared this with you? Why did it get shared so widely? Is there a news organization that shared? And I'm talking about specifically stuff that would actually matter, right? If it's something silly, okay, somebody has 6 fingers, a pig riding a horse, that's just sort of fun internet stuff, right? But when it's stuff that actually matters, politics would be one certain category that that would definitely matter. What do you do? How do you figure out, okay, where did this come from? Who sent this originally? And not everybody is going to go through the trouble of doing that. That is, all of us who work in journalism and have for a long time, we know this. So it's sort of like, where did it come from? Is it real? If it's not, at what point did it break? And you kind of go from there. Now, most people just aren't going to do that. And so that's where this becomes dangerous. It's not so much that it's the danger of something fake being made. It's that so many folks don't go through the steps of figuring out what is real and what is not. And I also, I don't want to throw people under the bus for not understanding what is real and what is not, because not everybody is using those same tools. Like if something looks real, you say it's clearly real. I mean, I'm looking at this video, it's clearly real, and maybe it isn't. And so that I think is, going back to, the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas, and whoever is next after them, that is stuff that you need to, teach people early in life.
I think many people listening have probably had to educate, boomers and some of their, peers in Gen X, because I can think of specific issues with a relative. Like the first was like, hey, can you check Snopes before you forward that email around? Because that's not true or that didn't happen. And there's also, I think we're all at this point painfully aware that social media tends to be echo chambers that feed you more of what you want, or, feed you a lot of stuff that enrages you, because that proves to have particularly
but even
great
you
engagement.
mentioned Snopes, and it's like, I know exactly what you mean, and that is a great source of information.
Yeah.
But how many people are even aware that Snopes exists?
Not enough, and most people don't even, it is interesting to have conversations with people who don't read news, right? Now, the hoopy fruits that know where their towels are that are listening to this podcast probably don't have a problem with that, but I work with at least one person who their entire news informant is based on titles that flash by on social media, right? And this is not a particularly deep take, and the titles are often reflective of what will generate more clicks, than what the actual article is about. And it is fascinating for me to watch a couple friends of mine that are so eager to be angry about whatever category of politics they like to be angry about, that they see or read anything and it just stokes that inner fuel for them to, burn to the horizon with the victorious, goals of their particular, political party. And they see stuff and they don't think about it. And there's people that are completely non-critical consumers of media. Some of them are very young, some of them are very old, some of them are in the middle. I think it's a problem that runs across all generations to a point, that are just absolutely going to be taken in. Like, because I look at stuff, and there's tools I see used in marketing where, say you've got a person that needs to speak to people in 17 different languages, right? So, and they don't really like to be on camera in the first place. So there are AI models that will allow you to have a talking head. Now, it's going to be as animated as me. It's not going to be as it's not going to be as good as me in terms of a recreation of me, if you are somebody who pays a lot of attention to tics and facial motions and how people behave on camera, right? But they've already gotten to the point where there's a pause in the conversation and the AI stops doing this weird thing. And if you're listening at home, I'm doing this sort of bobblehead thing on the screen, to the point where it can actually, be more natural while paused. And I mention all this because it will not only create these videos from a script that are alarmingly realistic with what we now know is probably going to be primitive technology compared to what we're going to see in a few years. It can do it and translate it into different languages, which is what is mind-blowing for me, where I've heard somebody I know who does not speak a lick of Spanish speaking Spanish fluently, because I sent it to a fluent Spanish speaker, and doing it with their accent, as if they are this particular American person speaking Spanish, and it sounds like them because it retains enough of that. We're entering into an absolutely terrifying era in media and belief in it. Go ahead. Sorry, Rob.
One of the cool things that AI is able to do, and this actually makes this even more terrifying, is that the AI can actually correct itself. They're getting so good now that they know what humans look like. They know what humans sound like. They know what breathing looks like. They can improve upon themselves. And that's what's happening. And that's why the experts are saying that, we're very close to where you won't be able to look at a video and tell, to the untrained eye. Regular people just aren't going to be able to tell. So you'll have to have something else, a digital footprint that is saying this is where this was created and this is who created it, or something like that. But it's, we need technology to help us understand what our technology is and what our technology isn't going forward. I don't think we're too far away from it.
Some sort of AI notarization, like
That's what
service.
your glasses are for. Your glasses are going to look at everything you see and tell you if it's real or not.
Fake price.
That's actually
Real
a
price.
pretty good use case. I'd wear them. Well, many of you send us thoughts on AI and all sorts of tech throughout the week. So in that spirit of emails, let's check out the email. If you fancy yourself a world traveler, Chris Christensen has a pretty fun way to put your experience to the test.
This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler with another Tech in Travel Minute. I'm a traveler, but I also like games, so I do my daily Wordle but I also do my daily Worldle. That's the word world, followed by LE. And that's a geography game where you are given just the outline of a country and you need to guess what country that is. If you guess incorrectly, which you will many times because many countries look alike, you'll be given a direction and a distance for how far off you are. So it's 2,000 miles northeast of here. When you finally guess it correctly, you get fireworks and the satisfaction that you're learning geography. The game is Worldle, and this is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler.
I cannot believe I've never heard of this before.
It's
I
really
play
fun.
Wordle every morning, every single morning of my life. But
I checked-
Worldle, I have not heard of.
It's really addictive. I tried it. It gave me South Africa, and first it tells you what the country is. It's like, oh yeah, South Africa. Then it goes on with the next question: what are the countries that border South Africa? Right. So you have to go through like Namibia. You have to go through Botswana, Mozambique.
Is the whole idea that
Zimbabwe.
you're not supposed to look at a map?
Yeah, that's the you're
That's
supposed
the
to do it
game,
from memory.
right?
Yeah.
Like you could cheat if you wanted to, but it's all about
then
gaining
you can cheat
knowledge.
on
Oh
Wordle.
man,
I got most
I
of the
did
countries.
not need
except-
another game in the morning,
except the
but here
last
we
one.
are. We're Worldle.
It's fun. Definitely something people should check out.
So we've got another, pretty good email that was actually sent in by Chloe, and they wrote, "Are Waymos really Batman?" The discussion between Tom and Sarah about how they changed their behavior when driving near a Waymo reminded me of this recent article where researchers added a Batman cosplayer onto the Milan subway. Study found other riders were more likely to offer a pregnant rider their seat when Batman was present, even if he remained silent and didn't interact with anyone. Could be a conspiracy theory, but at least here in South Austin, I've never seen Batman and Waymo at the same time.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Is Waymo Batman? Yeah. I know Tom and I were talking about, seeing Waymos and driving near them, and I've got a lot of them in my neighborhood. I wouldn't say that my driving is drastically different, but that feeling where, let's say you're at a stoplight, right? And you kind of go into the left lane and you kind of make eye contact with the person next to you and you kind of like do the thing, like, I'm going to go. Okay, cool. And either they can be a jerk about it or they can be like, yeah, I got you. Like, you can't do that with a Waymo. So there's definitely some human interaction that is lost with these cars because they're just going to do what they think is best. And you can't be like, hey, can I get in front of you? I'm in a hurry. That kind of thing.
No, Sarah, you and Tom, you see this because of where you live regularly. I don't know that I've ever seen a Waymo live. So I'm wondering if I were to be driving downtown Columbus and I see a Waymo all of a sudden, would I rubberneck to, ooh, look at that? Would my behavior change? Not because I'm worried about it being authoritative, but it's just something I haven't seen before. I'm not seeing Batman. I'm seeing the Batmobile. Yeah. And that is changing. That's changing
it
my
wasn't
behavior.
that long ago that I felt the same way. I was like, what? Oh my gosh, look, it's a Waymo in the wild. And now I'm like, they're like there are more of them than there are of us.
There's so many cars in St. Louis with Arizona tint where you cannot see a driver even at high noon. I feel like I'm going to be a lot less phased by this if the Waymo ever makes it to St. Louis.
And if you want a good discussion of this Batman peer-reviewed study, by the way, We Have Concerns did a great episode on it with Jeff Cannata and Anthony Carboni, so go check that out. Mike, also in Austin, a.k.a. Why is Texas So Cold, wrote, as someone who uses a MacBook and switches back and forth between Android and iOS with every other phone, AirDrop is definitely one of the things I miss when I'm on Android, but I hope this opens the door to adding the feature I miss every day when I'm using Android, copy-paste between phone and computer. Imagine if copy and paste was removed altogether from your computer. That would be crippling. That's how I feel when I'm on Android. It's so seamless on iPhone to Mac. But with Android, I have to use buggy workarounds that fail more often than not, like KDE Connect. Hopefully with AirDrop working now, copy and paste won't be far behind.
Mike, I'm actually glad that you wrote in about this because this is a feature I forget about. And I will often, let's say I'm on, I'm on iOS and macOS, so this is a feature that I can use. Once you turn on handshake, handoff on both machines, and Bluetooth as well. And I forget that I can copy something from my phone and then paste it into a note on my Mac and vice versa. It really is seamless. And if you use that a lot and you have an Android phone and that isn't a feature that you have, I can see that would be really frustrating. So I want this for you.
The problem
forget
is
that I have
Mike
it
isn't
too.
using Windows. You can use Phone Link to go copy paste from Android to
Phone Link is
Windows.
so good. And I was just going to say, sometimes I forget that I'm using Phone Link because if I'm on someone's computer that doesn't have it and I'm trying to copy and paste, like, hey, what's going on? Why is this not working? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not on my computer. They may not have Phone Link or something similar. But yeah, it's Phone Link on Windows works great from Android.
Well, remember, everyone, you can send in your comments. Maybe you have suggestions. Maybe you have questions. We want it all. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Of course, if you're a patron, you can comment on anything we post to Patreon as well. We read every single message.
Now, every time Len Peralta is on the show, he is drawing something based on the stories we talk about in technology, and I'm always excited to find out which one he chooses. Len, what'd you pick?
Well, I started the year with an AI image, and this being my last appearance of the year, I'm going to end with AI image. We are a week or 2 weeks off from the holidays, from Christmas, and Santa has a lot to he has a lot to do. But thanks to AI, I think that any belief that kids have had in Santa has been squelched. Because how can you believe in anything when there is nothing to believe in anymore?
Oh, Len. All right.
Yeah. I mean, this is what kids are doing, right? They're looking at Sora.
Do you think
Yeah,
Santa's
it's-
upset about that or upset about the kid's haircut?
It's so
I think
sad that kids don't believe in an imaginary thing.
it is. It's really heartbreaking, isn't it?
Wait.
Thank you, AI. Thank you,
Santa
Sora.
Claus is real. Absolutely. He's absolutely
Well,
real.
Santa
Tom.
Claus is real, but not the one Len drew.
No.
Wow, that AI
Absolutely not.
overview.
Because that's an
is not
animation.
helping.
Yeah, Easter
Yeah.
Bunny,
Exactly.
Tooth Fairy, they're all real.
Right.
We all know that.
Come on. Don't believe everything you see. AI is a liar. Anyway, if you'd like that, it's called
Can't
Santa
spell
Gets
liar
Squelched.
without AI. I'm just saying.
Oh, nice, Tom. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
If you'd like to get this, you can go to my online store, lenperaltastore.com, where it's available right now. I'm also taking, for the final week of Christmas cards, holiday cards, now custom drawn for you. Or you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Len, where you can back me at the DTNS lover level. Get this, and, just show your love or dislike for AI, however you feel. I'm not coming on either side there. So,
Well, Len, thank you for being with us. We know we will have lots of fun in 2026.
Absolutely.
So enjoy the rest of your holiday season. Yay! And Patrick Norton, you as well. Thanks so much for being with us. Let folks know where they can keep up with your latest.
Oh, I'm still somewhere on X, and I'm patricknorton.bsky.social if you want to catch up with me there. And I have a post. Someday I'll post again. Maybe I should post every day.
I know. It turns out posting every day is hard.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Well, folks, during the show, you've been submitting titles over at dtns.showbot.tv, and we've got some good ones for you today. Let's kick it off with Larry in Atlanta. Take my money and use my stuff.
I also like the reverb mic leading the way with the votes right now. Waymo is Batman.
Here we go. Let's see. 2026 is the year of the glasses by GPEG84.
Might be GPEG84. Mm-hmm.
Glasses half full by the reverb mic.
clever. Very cool.
Cash and carry, but CAIRRY.
I like that one.
Fred
That's
A19.
that. Yeah, the jokes they just keep coming.
Yeah. Sarah, what did we decide to go with today?
Well, it was a toughie, Rob, but we went with Lion Jim Videos. AI takes real money and gives fake videos.
Real memory.
It's good stuff. Good. Thanks to everybody for submitting. That was a lot of fun. Let's do it again next week.
Indeed. Big thanks to everybody who watches us on LinkedIn and Patreon and Substack and Twitch and YouTube. We appreciate the support from everybody. It's good to see Kane and Andy and Taj3331 over there in the Substack live stream. Also, big thanks to the folks supporting us on Twitch over the past week. PC Miles, he gave us some bits. We got resubscriptions from Stealth Dave, Howard Yermish, Ryan in Minneapolis, the Pack NW Fall Star. Morbius gave us some bits. New follower, Starbuck86. Laminar Rainbow giving us a super sticker on YouTube right now under the wire. Thank you, Laminar Rainbow. Pack NW Fallstar also gave us some bits. Oh, That Flow gave out a community subscription gift during Android Faithful this week. Got to keep an eye out for that. PC Milesy with a resub. Blade GPS followed us. Razin with a resub. Larry in Atlanta and W Scottus1 all with resubs. W Scottus1 71 months says happy holidays to the DTNS team. Thanks to every single one of you who supports us, including the patrons. And if you are on patreon.com/DTNS, the oldest way we have funded this show, stick around for a bonus segment. Roger Chang bringing back the Zillow game. We're going to guess some property values. Stick around.
Right.
You can watch us live every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That is 2100 UTC. And you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. Be sure to keep up with Daily Tech Headlines and Daily Tech News Show all week. We also have weekly Live With It episodes. We have new hangouts throughout the week. Tom's been doing them. And some bonus weekend content as well. For now, we'll see you next Thursday.
This episode of DTNS Live was created by the following people. Big thanks to James Glazer for a super chat. Also thanks to producer and host Sarah Lane, host Tom Merritt, host Robb Dunewood, producer Roger Chang, video producer Joe Kuntz, producer at large Anthony Lemos, contributing producers Kevin Tech, Noel Cow, and Brandon Richards, social media producer and moderator Zoe Detterding, our mods, Beatmaster, W Scottus1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Guadarrama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, aka Gadget Virtuoso, and J.D. Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Luters. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Bobby Wagner. Our guests this week were Patrick Norton and Chris Christensen. And thanks to all our patrons who make the show possible.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.